Good morning, Sunset family. It's a pleasure to be with y'all this morning. I don't know, maybe y'all have seen it on Facebook, that little three overlapping circles that have, where they all overlap. It says me, and in all those three little circles, I've seen multiple different things. I've seen things worried about my job, worried about this virus, worried about the economy, whatever that circle may be that you're in the middle of. Right now, we don't know everybody's circle. We don't know what's top priority. Is it their job? Is it the economy? Is it this virus? Is it their freedom? We don't know. We don't know what everybody's circle that encompasses them to them, that me in the middle where all those circles intertwine. And I bring that up this morning right now, in this present time that I talked about on Wednesday, right now we don't know what's at the top of what major circle they're dealing with. What's going on that created that circle to where they're more focused on their job, their freedom, their health. We don't know. But this is what I'm going to challenge you with. Is that, hey, in that time, we don't know. We don't know the top circle. We don't know where me stands. So what we have to do as Christians, is we have to show the grace that we receive from God freely to others. Because if we truly understand what grace means, this grace from God that we received, then we should be able to show it to others. It's not a time for, hey, I don't agree with you, just being downright mean or, rude. It doesn't matter. Whether or not you believe everybody should be wearing masks, going to the grocery store or the Lowe's, or wearing gloves, or if we should keep the state open or open up the state or keep it closed, or, make it more than the 15 days that they extended it. Whatever that may be, we don't know the situation that everyone's going through. We don't know whether or not that circle is health because somebody in their family has, contracted this virus and they're having to deal with that and what that looks like and what it means. All we're called to do as Christians is to show God's grace to everyone. And no matter what situation, no matter what you think about it, you did nothing to receive God's grace. He says it's all there for everyone. And if you've received it, if you've received God's grace through hearing and believing God's word, being baptized with Jesus, into death with Jesus Christ, and you've rised out of that watery grave, you've received God's grace. He's cleansed you. He's gotten rid of all of your debt. And he calls us to go out and show his grace to others so that they can see him through that grace. And that's probably one of the most appealing things that brings people to Christ. Is seeing that, hey, this compassion, this grace that can be shown by Christians to other people. Do we truly understand what this grace is? And what it means for us and what it can do for others? I think the verse that really the jump off verse for me this week is Titus Chapter 2, verse 11 and 12. It says, "For the grace of God had appeared, bringing salvation to all men, instructing us to deny ungodliness and worldly desires and to live sensibly," or self-control, "righteously and godly in this present age." He's saying, right now, hey, live this way. This grace that came for everyone. It instructs us in these things to live this way. I think the biggest point I wanted to point out there was that self-control. Because we don't know what's bothering or going on in other people's lives. We might be frightened right now, but we cannot be hateful or rude. We've got to understand that we've got to show this grace that we received from God, because it's for all people. And they don't have to earn grace. Just like you and me, we can't earn grace. It's not through our works and our good deeds. It's something that God has given us freely. It's a gift that we all receive. This wonderful thing of grace. We're going to talk about 3 parables that kind of show this grace that we should have through all situations. That it doesn't matter what the situation in his life. We have received this grace freely, and we are to give it freely. Let's go over to Matthew chapter 20. Matthew chapter 20, verses 1 through 16. I'll just kind of, this is the kingdom of heaven. And he's sitting there, he's talking about this vineyard owner that goes out and hires these guys to work in his vineyard. He says, I'm going to pay you a denarius for the whole day. And he comes out at different times of the day. And he sees people standing around. And he says, hey, you, go work in my vineyard. Comes out later, you, go work out in my vineyard. I mean, he literally comes out to like almost an hour until the day is over and says, hey, you, quit standing around. Go work in my vineyard. But then what happens? Evening comes. That whistle blows. Work is done. And that's where I want to start reading is in verse 8 of chapter 20 of Matthew. It says, and when evening came, the owner of the vineyard said to his foreman, call the laborers and pay them their wage, beginning with the last group to the first. When those hired about the 11th hour came, each one received a denarius. And when those hired first came, they thought that they would receive more, but each of them received a denarius. And when they received it, they grumbled at the landowner, saying, these last men have worked only 1 hour, and you have made them equal to us, who have borne the burden and the scorch of the heat of the day. But he answered and said to one of them, friend, I am doing you no wrong. Did you not agree with me for a denarius? Take what is yours and go. But I wish to give to this last man the same as you. Is it not lawful for me to do what I wish with what is my own? Or is your eye envious because I am generous? So the last shall be first, and the first shall be last. I mean, I think the last part of 15. Because I am generous. I mean, that's God. I mean, we got this parable about, hey, whether or not it's you worked all day or, you got it right at the last hour of the day. God's grace is free and he's generous with it. So we too have to be generous with this grace that we've received. He's given it to you. It doesn't matter how long you've been a Christian or how long you think you've done good in the world. God's grace is free, whether or not you've been a Christian your entire life or you became a Christian yesterday. He's generous with this grace, and so should we. We should be generous like God, giving out his grace. Because, hey, you don't know the situation. All we know is God is generous with it. And he gives it to us, and he shows us this grace. So we have to show it to others. It's free. Just take it and give it. This gives a great demonstration of, that whole point of, hey, whether or not you earned it, you get it. We never will be able to physically earn God's grace. It's something that we adhere to and we get to receive spiritually. And I think it's in that understanding of what grace is and what it does for us makes it so powerful. It makes it something that we can be appreciative of and give freely. That next one, let's go over to Matthew. Another one of those stories or parables of God and how he shows us grace. In Matthew 18, verses 21 through 35, it's this debt. This man owes a great debt. And he's drug in and, he tells, I can't pay it. I'm sorry, Lord, I can't pay this debt I owe you. And guess what? He's freely given grace and released of that debt. But the next thing he does is what? He gets his debt forgiven. It's done. You've been shown grace. Get up and leave. And what's the first thing he does? He sees somebody that owes him. Let's just put it in today's language, all right? He owed $1 million. That debt was paid. It was forgiven. He received grace for that $1 million he owned. And literally the first person he runs across that owes him $10 grabs him by the neck, starts choking him out. Where is my money? Where's my money? Until we understand this about grace, that it's, we can't do nothing for it. That if we receive God's grace, then we have to give it out. We can't hide it back and think, hey, you know what? I did my part. No, God did your part. He paid your debt. He gave you grace. And if you can't freely go out and give forgiveness and grace to those on the same premise that you were relieved of that debt and received that grace. Our world right now is just like upside down. When you hear about people getting in fist fights at Lowe's because of the register lines. Literally, it's one of my funny things. I love to just sit back and watch people. When they have like registers in an open area and the people that'll just sit there and block both ways and just kind of move back and forth, which one's moving faster. But it's kind of funny right now. It's not funny that people are getting in fight and cops called. But what's funny to it is me is that with these like marked little spots, like stand here for social distance and stand here. It puts some organization to that. And, it's kind of ironic that it takes something like this for people to understand that, hey, to be gracious to others is the same way that God is gracious to us. It's who gets to check out faster and first. Doesn't matter. Because we're all going to get, we're all going to get it. We're all going to get through the line. And I think that's what God tried to tell us right here. He's just like, hey, you were forgiven a great debt. But literally, you went out to find this small thing and you couldn't get over that. You couldn't show grace to the littlest thing. To the littlest thing. You couldn't show grace and let somebody just go. Okay, yeah, just let them go ahead of you in the line at Lowe's. So it doesn't cause a fight and the cops are called. That's the easiest thing. To show grace to somebody and just, nod it off with a smile. Like, hey, you know what? I'll get checked out and get to go do whatever I'm doing as soon as I possibly can. Why is it in our nature to, not see that, hey, sometimes it's better just to sit back and show grace, because guess what? You received it. God gave it to you and it was free. So how is it so hard to show that on something that you have nothing invested in to others. He calls us, hey, I'm freely giving you this grace. It's a gift. Show it to others. Be willing to be this graceful person, this graceful Christian, to show others that, hey, God's grace is great. I read a story in a devotional. It was about a businessman. And he had, a lot of people in his office were Christians. And, he was on the verge, and one of them that had been newly baptized into Christ a few days later asked, if he could, meet him after work and talk to him. And, the owner, he was kind of nervous, like, oh, man, this guy's going to come in and start, preaching to me and, telling me what, I need, to be baptized and all this stuff, getting kind of nervous. And when it came, this new Christian walks in, head kind of slumped down, looking at his feet, and began to apologize for being a bad employee that fudged a little bit on his timesheet, that took a little bit of office supplies. But that business owner, that they came to an agreement. I mean, he was talking like, hey, if I have to, whatever amount you think I should pay, whether or not you think you should fire me, or if you want me to work late to make it up. I mean, they came to this arrangement. But that business owner, he said, the biggest thing that brought him to become a Christian was that example that he got to show grace and truly understand what grace means. Because when you have somebody right in front of you asking for forgiveness, or whether or not they're asking forgiveness, when you get to show this grace, you get to lift this burden that's weighing down on you away by showing God's grace to others, it changes your life. It makes a complete difference. And it's an absolute wonderful thing. That third one, it's probably the most known story, most known parable of this forgiveness. It's that prodigal son. He comes to the father. He wants his inheritance right then. He goes off to this foreign land and he squanders it away. He ends up, taking care of the pigs and, not even eating what the pigs slop. But he returns. And he returns with this idea that, hey, my father's servants eat. So at least I can get food and he'll take care of me. But no, when he shows, it talks about this grandeur of him looking out for him and seeing him far away. Gets him this robe and this ring and this celebration. Bring the fattened calf. Let's have a celebration. That's the grace that God gives us. We need to share it with others. A lot of people, yes, they come into Christ and it's all new and wonderful, and they start to distance themselves. If they want to come back, no matter what they did in that far-off land, whatever they did, it doesn't matter. Grace needs to be shown. And we need to learn from these parables that, hey, grace is freely given to us. We need to freely give it to those that need it as well. It's not something that we see every day that you need to be turn around and just keep it inside because you don't think they deserve it because of what they've done. I just think of the prodigal son. The brother, obviously we get these two examples. We get this, just happy, let's celebrate, my son is back. And then we get the other brother, hey, I've been slaving, I've been sweating here. I deserve that celebration. I deserve that fattened calf. You don't ever give me a fattened calf to slaughter and party with my friends. And then we get, hey, the one that squandered away everything, that distanced himself from us, has returned Let's have a party. That's grace. I mean, this grace, this magical and wonderful grace that we've received, because each of us have been far off and away from God, but we can come back. And we can show grace to others, whether they're Christians or not. I think the key here is we've got to be willing to understand that grace was freely given to us. And no matter what the circumstances or what they're doing to us, how they're treating us, whatever's going on, we can show God's grace as well. It's all about understanding what that grace means to us so that we can show it to others. The world right now around us, it needs God's love, His mercy, and definitely His grace. So if there's anything that we can do for you, call the office, shoot me an email, call me. But if there's anything we can do for you, if we can get you back on track with God, whether or not you want to put Him on in baptism and change your life and take in that grace that God offers through His Son, Jesus Christ, because He paid that debt for you, we'll make it happen. Just let us know. I hope y'all have a blessed and wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing y'all again.